situations at the drop of a hat. I was one of the first to apply for the office assistant job and had spoken to Joseph Yang about it being a great opportunity to get involved, make some money, and help the community. I was excited to get to the next step and interview and truly thought I'd be a good asset. As I'm sure you noticed, I did not end up interviewing. After witnessing the behavior of the clerk at the meeting at the end of July, I immediately withdrew my name for consideration before even leaving the pavilion. My reason to withdraw was 100% due to Priscilla Hart's unprofessionalism. I know I am not alone, as others have admitted privately they too withdrew for the same reason. With that being said, it's very obvious the township needs change and they need employees that truly want the best for the community and not themselves.
Okay, thank you, Beth. Joe Beth Carlton.
There's a serious problem happening in this township right now due to the fact that we recently had not just one, but 2 vacancies for the board positions with the most essential day-to-day oversight to keep the township running smoothly, but also the ability to focus on problems already in place and find effective solutions to problems that predated those vacancies. Instead of ending up with both those positions filled by people who understood the level of seriousness involved, we ended up filling the clerk position in a seized opportunity at a time with a low board census, despite that person admitting for weeks beforehand that she didn't even want the position anymore. There's been extra security measures that aren't actually in place but appear to be, and the township office is still at massive risk of damage/theft due to the lack of surveillance for months now. There's unprofessional behavior at board meetings, disrespectful treatment of board members and other employees, both in private and public situations, refusal to cooperate with board members or provide requested documents to them, unapproved spending of township funds, going over budget, labor law violations, payroll inconsistencies, and every single thing I just listed was directly caused by the new clerk's neglect, irresponsibility, and insistence on controlling every possible aspect of both personnel and township records. So far, the clerk has leaned on 2 former clerks, both Stacy Stoner and Judy McCord, to help her guide her in her daily operations. Both have been helping her since the very first week, with McCord having up to 10 phone calls per day to answer questions or give advice, and Stoner being in the office for hours at a time, almost daily, despite not even being the deputy clerk. The only things actually being finished are the result of the help of others, mostly Judy McCord, and prove that our clerk is unfit for the basic workload involved in the position. I personally have been accused of a felony by the new clerk after she failed to follow best practices when fulfilling FOIA requests. And rather than admit a mistake or take action to fix it, her mistake, which included releasing township bank account information, became a blatant, serious lie days after, when the rest of the board was told that I had taken original public records and that I was refusing to return them to her. This inability to hold herself accountable and willingness to lie and even flippantly accuse others of crimes that were not committed and could be easily proven not to have happened is unacceptable, dangerous, and requires board action. Threatening to resign and admitting in front of residents and employees often that the clerk welcomes the opportunity or at least does not care if the township suffers warrants immediate discipline. Restricting access to township records via refusal to provide them, or even locking the records in the basement, especially when it's required for board members to do their jobs at all, is not only malfeasance, but is grounds for revoking their bond. Do something. With the attorney present tonight, with the duties of clerk and treasurer on this agenda, address this now before the clerk puts our township at any more risk or puts any other employees or residents in dangerous situations that can stall any progress toward repairing the damage that was done before she was appointed and the damage she has since caused and is causing presently.
Okay, thank you, Joe Beth. Kathy Carter.
I just have a comment about, property taxes that come and due, and how do we come and pay them? I'm not just dropping it off. I'm not dropping it off.
Okay.
I want a receipt.
Yeah, thank you, Kathy. Okay.
Joe, or Jay?
I was too late to sign. Can I sign now?
We'll get you out of here, Cheryl. Go ahead.
He's waiting, yeah.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Oh,
I got
go
you.
ahead.
Go ahead. Yep.
Oh, okay. I'm not professional. By no means. But I do want to add to some of this. And a little bit of it, because I did have confidence
What is she doing?
in you,
Doggy.
but I
She owns the
also,
place, right?
we have history, right? Long time history. But I also feel partially to blame what you're going through and what's being said. Because at first, your first couple of weeks, I thought, I need to go talk to her. Because I need to help her to know she has to stay in the lane and people, what's the word? Help me.
Help her,
Matter.
encourage her,
Do
behind
people,
her.
You know, do people.
How do we know?
You're a people person. Be personable and not worry about in charge or not in charge or whatever, which is your personality. Has been since you were this high. So, in saying that, you know that I had confidence in the job. But I also want to apologize for not listening to my heart and coming to talk to you about these issues that are real. And helping you to be the person that you can be. You understand what I'm saying? Because on the outside, which I am on the outside, because, you know, I'm not here all the time. So I'm not going to accept my apology for not coming to you and trying to help you personally that way. I remember when Stacy was the clerk, and maybe she made a lot of mistakes. I don't know, because I only saw the positive. I saw the positive of going to help the elderly house to house. I saw the positive of her willingness to go the extra mile to help somebody. I saw that, and that's what made me totally respect her, is her kindness to all these people. And in saying all of that, I'm not out to get you, but we need to work on the personality aspect, getting along with people, and seeing somebody else's side on things, and keeping our emotions. I do apologize for not coming to you. I should have.
Thank you, Cheryl. Okay.
Jerry, can I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't get formal with either. I just wanna say, I worked 16 and a half hours with that woman at the election, and she got dumped on every time we turned around, and she did so much work. And you people that are sitting here saying, oh, she's
You are
not
to
doing
address
her
the board,
job.
not us.
I'm saying,
No,
you
address the
people that
board.
are saying
Nope.
you do not think she's doing her job. I have not seen any of you step up to help.
Oh, yeah, we have,
Hey,
so you
Mary,
can sit down with that.
Please.
No, we're getting
Okay, thank
accused of
you.
shit.
Okay, time for public comment is closed.
Yeah, she got her pat on her back, but other
As we
people have
move
tried to
forward
help,
to
but
discuss
somebody
the
wants to be a
duties
bitch
of
and
the
say
office of
otherwise.
the clerk and the treasurer, okay? I think we have some personality conflicts on the board. I'm gonna tell you, Priscilla, how long, June 8th. And you guys, most of you guys out here know that Priscilla and I have a history, okay? She's done everything that she can to try to do things the right way, okay? By no means was she 100% correct in everything she's done. Joseph, same thing. We work together, we communicate, Priscilla and I communicate. So what I'm asking you guys to do as we move forward in this meeting tonight is just please be respectful of one another. Let's get it out on the table. Let's try to hash it out and move forward, okay? So, anybody wanna get started?
I'd like to move to have, since it's an HR issue, I believe HR issues should be done in closed session. I'd like to move that this be in closed session.
Okay. Chris, you were gonna research that?
Yeah, Chris Patterson, nice to meet everybody. I did also bring Matt Cushel from my office, although I know the tenor of the meeting's a little bit different, but we did want to introduce ourselves as well and take the opportunity to meet the board, since this is our first engagement with them. We did look into the issue on the Open Meetings Act. I think you do have the right, if you want to provide, sort of complaints or have causes about a specific officer, you can do so by having the request, which has been made for a closed session, but there does have to be a vote by the board. Typical closed sessions are under a 2/3 roll call vote, but this specific one is under sort of an exception where it can be done by a majority vote. So you would need to have a roll call. The board would have to vote based upon the request by the treasurer. If the vote passes, you would end up in closed session. I'm assuming you've probably been in closed session before, so at that point, in closed session, you can really only have discussion and deliberation. There can't be any votes, no actions taken. So at some point, you would have to resume back after the sort of, complaints about a specific office have been provided, like, you have to resume back in open session with respect to deliberate to an actual decision or take any voted action as it relates to whatever issues are, raised.
Okay, so at this time, Joseph has asked, we'll consider that to being the motion made. Is there a support on the table on that motion? I'll support it. We'll roll call, Bryce?
No.
Christine?
No.
Priscilla?
No.
I'll vote yes. Joseph?
Yes.
Motion denied.
Are we discussing?
I'm sorry?
Are we having discussion?
We are now.
I just feel that we have not gone in closed session previously with other board members, so I don't think that we should do it now. We should
Okay.
continue to be open and transparent with residents of this community.
Okay.
I want to put this on the record as well. I requested closed session because I feel it's an HR issue and we should discuss this in closed session first and hash it out as board members first, because we need to get it all on the table first. And we shouldn't air dirty laundry in front of our residents and deal with that. And some dirty laundry is gonna go out there anyways, but we need to, it's kinda like siblings, right? We need to figure it out first and behind closed doors and come out and we have a united front. But if the board wants us to mudsling, we can mudsling. That's just not my preference. I try to be as professional as possible, but that's my preference, to keep it professional and come out as united front. So that, I would just like to make a record of that. Thank you.
Hearing that, we'll move forward. So I guess whoever would like the floor, Joseph?
You can go first.
Okay, Priscilla?
I said you go first.
Oh my God.
Okay. Read your first point, Joseph.
I'm the one who asked for this special meeting.
All right, Chris.
So Bryce, Christine, you guys don't know this, but I reached out to Jerry a week ago to ask for this special meeting. I guess before I start, so I know what parameters are, there was a HR issue that you and I talked about that said that my duty was to this township. Can I disclose that?
I don't know what HR issue you're referring to, but we did discuss the means upon which you guys wanted to have this meeting, or whether you wanted to have a discussion without doing it at a board meeting.
So, I don't know if you remember, I asked you about my duty to the township, and if I didn't have that duty, I don't know if I can disclose that, so I won't disclose that.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember that, I know we talked about a lot of stuff, so.
Okay.
Okay, so, it came to a head, a week ago, and so I called Jared, said we need to have a specific special meeting just to discuss this, okay? The purpose of this is because me, Jared, and Priscilla know what's going on, you guys don't really know what's going on, okay? And the only way to let you guys know what's going on is to have a meeting, because we can't violate Open Meetings Act by just having a discussion in the park, right? So that's why I asked for the closed session, so that you guys can be filled in with what we know already, but that has been denied, okay? So we're going at it now, so that's the backdrop of this, alright? The goal of this is not to get anybody fired, my request was not to get anybody fired, but to make that office a little bit more professional. I worked in a professional environment for 20 years. In 2 months, I've had more problems in 2 months than I had in 20 years in my professional career, okay? I worked in office since I was 19 years old, and I'm 40 now. So, I worked with kids who are 7 years old, all the way up to presidents of banks, and I can work with anybody, okay? You guys have observed me for about 6 years now. No matter how heated I am, I'm never unprofessional, and I try my best to do that, okay? There are times that I get a little heated, but I try to tone it down. I'm very careful with my words, And I try to be professional because it should never be a personal attack, it's about that action itself, it's not about the person, okay? So I'm gonna go through what I have here, it's a little lengthy, I'll let Priscilla go through what she has here. The goal here is to have us have some office protocols, because right now there are no office protocols at all, alright? And there's no clear delineation of who's doing what, and why they're doing what, and who's doing what. I came to the board to clarify that I really only wanted to do statutory duties, okay? And if you need help in non-statutory duties, I'll help do those, but I don't want them to be my full responsibility, okay? If somebody needs help writing permit, cool, I'll help. If I know how to do that, I'll help. If somebody needs help, filling out a property exemption, I'll help do that. Or I'll do what I can to help, but I didn't want that to be my duty as a whole. And I think I made that clear at our last meeting, okay? In a normal office setting, there are supervisors. If there's issues like this, we could go to a supervisor and ask, all right? If we were regular colleagues in a regular office, but we're not, we're elected officials. She's not the boss of me, I'm not the boss of her, okay? That's how that works. Jerry's not the boss of us either. None of the board members, we're not bosses of each other. We have delineated statutory duties that we are required to do. If we don't do them, one, we could recall, two, we could be possibly fined, misdemeanor, there's an array of legal action that can happen if we don't do our delineated statutory duties. But a township doesn't run on just those 10 statutory duties. It runs on a building department, it runs on the generators going on, it runs on our septic tank needs to be, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that needs to happen, right? And I get that, not that I'm not willing to help, it's just I don't want that to be my sole independent responsibility, and that's what you have to do, because I have time constraints, okay? And able to remedy that, I have posted office hours at least once a week, and they've been up there. I have my cell phone up there if you wanna meet with me individually. And so that's what I do to try to accommodate, because I know this township is familiar and has had somebody in that township office, typically Monday through Thursday from 10 to 2. That's why I try to remedy that by hiring an office assistant, okay? And so we had the office assistant hired. Yet, every time I try to onboard her, I'm reaching the roadblock. I can't get her onboarded. I've requested to get her onboarded, I can't get her onboarded. I've requested that she get paid, she can't get paid. The day that paychecks were supposed to be cut, our office assistant was available to provide the documentation that the clerk requested. The clerk denied her that and said that we'll figure it out after this meeting. And I know the clerk was there till 10:30 because I kept checking to see if she would leave so I can go in and do my work. It has become a hostile work environment. I don't know if everybody in here has worked in a hostile work environment, but it's a hostile work environment in there, okay? I worked for 20 years and never ran into this. And so it is a hostile work environment. There are certain policies and procedures and protocols in a office environment that need to be followed, and none of them are followed, okay? I wanna make sure the full board is aware of what's going on. That's why I wanted to have this, and I didn't wanna have it in public, but we are here now. Some of our duties do overlap, especially when it comes to the finances. The way that the laws are written, some of our duties overlap. But yet, there's no clear communication of what's needed. One of the biggest gripes that Priscilla probably is gonna mention later is the June reconciliations. The ball is in her court. I asked her, what specifically do you need so that I can get these reconciliations out to you? Because I reconcile stuff on a regular basis. That's my job. I do monthly reconciliations for about 10 accounts. It's complicated and tedious. It's not an easy thing to do. So I said, what do you need? How do you need it? I don't know. She just throws her hand up. How am I supposed to respond to that? As a professional, I don't know you're a professional too. You tell me what you need, or we say, hey, can you sit down? Let's spend some time and let's try to figure this out. Nope, because I don't give her what she thinks she needs, how she needs it. She can't communicate that to me. Sure. And so now it's my, you want me to go, I'm going. Let me go, let me finish. I ain't even there yet, I ain't started yet. Okay? All right? I ain't started yet, let me finish. If you wanted to go, you can go, I'll stop.
No, go ahead.
All right? Stay on.
All right? One of the things that, I can't bring this up because I talked to others, so I won't bring this up. I'll save that if I can bring this for another time. I tried my best to get Michelle onboarded. I run into roadblocks every step of the way. When we voted to create the position, Priscilla didn't say a word, didn't even vote. Mum's the word. If you have a grievance, or if you don't agree with it during discussion, that's when you say something. Just like I said something here to put it on the record that I didn't wanna have this public. Did she say anything? Those were here. No, she didn't say anything. She was mad, but she didn't get her way, so she didn't say anything. She abstained on the vote. When we voted for Michelle to come in, who was the only applicant, and I can second, because I'm the one who received all the resumes, we had 7 resumes, I'm sorry. We had 7 resumes. 2 people scheduled interviews. 1 person dropped the day of. 100% because of the clerk, because they would have to interact with her. And they were not comfortable with that unprofessional relationship that they've seen in public meetings like this. It's ridiculous. There's like no decorum, no professionalism at all. I know we're all human, we got heated. This is probably the heated anybody here has ever seen me, except for my wife. Like that's, this is not a public image I like to have out there, because it's not who I am. But what I was telling Jerry is, this is what I'm becoming, and I don't like that. I don't like to have this animosity. I don't like that when I drive up to that township hall and her car's there, I turn right around and go home at 10:30, and then come in at 5 o'clock in the morning, because that's when she's not there. Who wants to work in something like that? So this is why I called for this meeting, and this is why I felt it shouldn't have been public. Just examples of unprofessionalism that I've seen in the office since I've been there. I've been there 2 months. She berated Bryce in front of me about him trying to help me get a desk for my office, because I didn't have a desk. I was working off of my 6-foot plastic folding table because I did not have a desk. Bryce and Mary volunteered to go help and get that from Consumers Energy. She berated him for stepping on her toes as a clerk. He's trying to take something off your plate. You should be thankful. She berated him for 5 minutes, left for 30 seconds, and we thought she was done. I guess not. She had a second coming. She comes back and berates him in front of me. And I thought Bryce was her friend. If you treat your friends like that, how do you treat your enemies? I thought Bryce was her friend, because I've seen them interact together. I don't understand that. I've seen her call other colleagues names. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna call them out of their name. That is totally unprofessional. She has this expectation that anybody who she calls on owes her something. Nobody owes you anything. If they wanna help you, they help you. If they don't wanna help you, they don't help you. You gotta figure it out. Or find somebody who's willing to help you. You just can't berate somebody because they don't wanna help you. You move on to the next thing. Or you ask for help from somebody else. But then, when they don't help you, you call them names, but then you call on them anyways to help you. That doesn't make sense to me. Totally unprofessional. I asked the board assigned me a project to review some payroll records. I asked her for those payroll records because I know it's a lot of payroll records, and so she's gonna need some time to get those payroll records. And then I'm gonna need time to go over those payroll records to work on that project. So the board assigned that to me. I asked her, I said, hey, when you get a chance, can you get this to me? I have a folder of work for you with questions that you've not addressed. Oh, maybe I missed some, maybe I missed some in my office. I go in, I don't see no folder. I don't see anything. Where's the folder? I don't see any folder, I don't see any instructions. I don't see a request to meet with me, nothing. We have different schedules. If you see, my office hours are posted a month in advance. She does not have office hours, she's about coming only, which is fine, she doesn't have to be there. Alright, so I don't even know when if I can look at her office hours to see if we coincide or not, I don't know that. Alright, all of a sudden she's just there and then she's not there, I don't know. And that's not my business. She doesn't have to be there, except for days that she statutorily has to be there. Just like me, I don't have to be there, except for days that I statutorily have to be there. But I try to be there as much as I can, and just because those are my office hours doesn't mean that's the only time I work. I'm there. I place those office hours so that the public knows when they can, specifically know when they can interact with me. If I'm there and I'm not busy, I'll answer that door. So, instead of contacting me directly, say, hey, I got this folder, I need you to work with it. What does she do? She CCs the whole board on this question. She sends it to the whole board. And some things as simple as I have your mail, sending to the whole board. To me, in a work setting, that's checking me, trying to check me that I'm not doing my work. That's checking me. As simple as your mail came today, when are you gonna be in? Well, if I'm not here, we have inter-office mail, please put it where I asked you to put it. Well, I have your mail. Why are you checking me? You're not the boss of me. I'm not the boss of you, stop checking me. It doesn't work that way. She unilaterally hired somebody to put locks on our doors. Okay? We had a discussion that when I showed Michelle around the office, I said, some of these doors don't have locks, but we probably should have locks on them. We've been talking about this for 2 months now, okay? No board action. She didn't bring it up to the board. No board action. Whether or not you brought it up to the board, there was no board action. I'll put it that way. The assessor's office is locked, no problem. The server room is locked, no problem. My problem, and what I expressed my concern was the locking of that basement door. Now, I'm not saying that records in that basement door shouldn't be secure and shouldn't be locked. That's fine. But what if there's an emergency and we need to take shelter? We should have a key to that for emergency purposes. I am one of the 3 executive officers. I don't have a key to that. If I'm there and a tornado comes, like it did the other day, where there's 80-mile winds, I can't take shelter. Her answer was, you live 10 minutes, go home. What if I can't go home? That was her answer. You live 10 minutes away, go home. What in? That is not the answer. I'm not saying don't lock the basement. I'm saying we need a key for emergency purposes. How much liability would we have? And the locks were put on 24 hours prior to that event. That's ridiculous. I said, don't do it. You can lock the other ones, but we need to discuss that basement first. She puts it on Thursday, the event happens Friday. Within 24 hours. I'm not saying that, but we have to have that. Michelle will be in that office sometimes by herself. If she needs to lock it and get secure, she can. If she needs to go in the base, she can. She's expected to go home through a tornado, drive through a tornado. We saw what happened in Williamston. We don't know when that's gonna happen here. We have no idea. We live in Michigan, it could snow tomorrow. We don't know. That's ridiculous, and you unilaterally did that without board action, something that could cause the board liability, major liability. And her answer, go home, you're only 10 minutes away, that's unacceptable, ridiculous, and it just shows how much she doesn't care. She doesn't care about it. If that's how she thinks, that's it. There's no discussion, there's no thinking about it. And if it's the position of this board, if we have a motion that we need to lock that basement and not give keys out to people, I want that to be on the record, on a full vote, I want a full minutes, word for word of what that is. I want that on the record, word for word, if that is what this board decides to do, and not provide keys for emergency purposes. The simple answer is provide keys. Michelle, you are restricted from going there except for emergency purposes. And if she goes in there to peek her head in, she's fired. That's the answer. How hard is that? That's the answer. I don't understand. She's Santa Claus? She's gonna sneak down there and steal cookies? I don't understand that. To me, I feel she just doesn't like Michelle and never has and probably never will. I start off with, if I meet somebody I've never met before, 110% respect. I've never met you, I don't know you, but I give you my respect 110%. You can lose my respect, but you have my respect to start with, okay? It's like teachers, they always say, you start with an A, but then you lose and you get a B later, right? That's what teachers say. That's what teachers always try to say to make you feel better, right? But that's how I am, 110% respect. As soon as I meet you, I don't know who you are, I don't know your background, I don't know, but I know that you are a person and you deserve my respect until you lose it. That's where I come from. She comes over to my desk area, rummages rummages through my stuff on my desk. We don't have locked offices that we can lock. I don't rummage over her desk. There's no reason for me to do that. There's no reason for me. If there's something she needs to provide for me, she will provide it for me, or use the inter-office mail that we've used. I don't rummage over her desk. Just doesn't make sense. I've learned that in my 20 years in my professional career. Don't go in people's desks without permission. Like, that's just professionalism, okay? So, I wanna put this board on notice. No matter who we hire as that office manager, they're not gonna stay if this doesn't change. Okay? If this doesn't change, they will not stay. We will not have an office manager. We will not have anybody to deal with the building department or any other ancillary duties that need to happen. She works, I work, Jerry works. We cannot man that office that way. That's why I requested to create that position. Yet, it's been 2 weeks, she has no keys, she has no code. I created access to her to have access. I got my admin access pulled. I can't access BSNA for a whole week. Now my desktop is disappeared, vanished into thin air. All my documents are gone.
What?
Hey.
And that has just happened since after I asked for this meeting. It happened on Monday. I just got my BSNA access at 4 o'clock. I logged into my computer, my desktop vanished. Because the language she used is remove admin access for Joseph. As an IT person, if I hear remove admin access, what does that mean? Everything. Anything that says admin, gone. If you're not sure, you should ask. If I'm on the wrong ladder, Joseph can get down, you're using the wrong ladder, you need to use this one. You don't kick the ladder from under me. You tell me, hey, this is an issue, let's figure out what's going on. Well, oh, you're using the wrong ladder, you have too many permissions, we need to remove something. Cool, I get it, it's a security issue, I'm from IT, I get it. This person should have access to this folder, this person has access to this folder, you don't go in mine, I don't go in yours. Cool, that's how that works. You don't kick the ladder from under me and make me fall. Now, I've lost all my documents, and I hope and pray that our IT company can restore my desktop. Or the 2 months worth of work, gone. Gone, I will start from scratch. That is the ramification of not thinking before you do something and kicking the ladder up. That's what's happened. It's not just I don't have access to BSNA anymore, I've lost my desktop. In 20 years of working, being in IT, I've never had this happen. Ever. It's ridiculous. I've never had this happen. I hope VC3 can restore my stuff. Again, I'm informing this board that if this does not get resolved, and this hostile workplace does not get resolved, I don't know where we're gonna move forward as far as an office goes from here. The way that she will need to communicate with me is through written email, that's it. I will not be in the office when she's in the office. I'd rather go in at 5 o'clock in the morning, do my work, and then go to work at 9. I refuse to be in that office unless there's a resolution and we figure this out. Do we have work that overlaps? If we will need to talk, we will talk about that specific duty, and that's it. I'm not gonna talk, I wanna ask her what the weather is, I wanna ask her anything. If it's not about what we need to do to get done for this township, I'm done. If we can't resolve this, I'm done with that. I will do my job as a treasurer, I'm not quitting, I'm not asking her to be fired. Don't ask me to be the happy Joseph that you guys see that says hi to everybody that comes in when it comes to her. I'll do that to everybody else, but not her. She has zero respect for me and for a lot of people. If you are lucky enough to call her your friend, you must have very thick skin, like elephant thick skin. So, that's what's been happening in the 2 months that I've been in the office. Okay? It's unbearable. How many words can I use? Unbearable, intolerable. Priscilla is very vindictive. She tries any little mistake you make. Let's say I colored outside the lines, coloring my coloring page. You color it outside the lines. She puts that in a little folder, pulls it out, you color it outside the lines. Instead of saying, hey, you colored outside the lines, let me help you not color outside the lines. Let me help you, move that a little bit here. No harm, no foul, we good. No, that's not how she works. So be careful. Be very careful. Be very careful. Be very careful. It's a personality issue with the board. But I tell you that I don't trust her. I don't respect her. She's lost all my respect.
Stay, if you can, Joseph, please stay on.
So, last one's made, I lost all admin access, and she's saying she didn't do anything, but she did. The language she used was, Josie Yang should only be a user, no admin or point of contact. That's why I've lost my desktop. That's why I haven't gotten to BSNA to do my statutory duties for the last 4 days. My statutory duties is to collect those taxes and get that accounted for. The last 4 days I couldn't do anything. If you don't want me to be to the IT admin, I'm cool with that. Less work for me. I'm good. Take that off my shoulder. I have an IT background. I can help. I've been helping. I thought I was good. I helped get our server back up. She's done a lot of work. I've done a lot of work. I've dealt with VC3. Don't kick the ladder up under me. Everything I do, I take 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. She undermines everything I do. She looks for things to poke and prod. She looks for things to catch you on. She has this I got you type of thing that she does. That doesn't work in the office. That doesn't work. You can do that in your personal life all day. In the office, that don't work that way. So that's where I'm at. I want some action items from this board, and I know it's not gonna be done today, but we need to talk about that. If any of you guys went to the office and that happened, you wouldn't be there. You would file a complaint with HR for a hostile workplace and possibly have a lawsuit. I can't do that though. That's why I asked for a closed session, so that you guys can get on board. She does what she wants to get her way, and when she gets her way, she's good. But if she doesn't get her way, she undermines everything. She was trying to recall an official, put in all the paperwork, but what'd you know? She's the clerk. Now all of a sudden the official is no longer needed to be recalled. If there was valid reason to recall them, should have recalled them. It wouldn't matter if you're there. If it doesn't matter. If there's a valid reason, then go through with it. But no, she got her way, so she's done. And that's what I have to deal with every day. So until this is taken care of, I'll only be in there when I have to be in there, or when she's not in there. That's all I gotta say for now.
Okay, a couple of things that I would like to say in regards to what it is that Joseph brought up. Which one of the things, I think that, Joseph has said that, his office hours are posted, and this is no different for Joseph as it is for Priscilla. We've got a lot of newer residents in this township, and I say newer as in, it's been, how many years ago that everybody worked out of their houses, okay? The clerk and the treasurer worked out of their houses. You called their house, you made an appointment, you went over there, you got your building permits, any other information, so, please keep in mind, the office that we have is a convenience, and we can't make them. We can't make them be. They're there on their own fruition, okay? It's just the way it is. And I know it's unfortunate, but that's where you say you don't hate the player, hate the game. But that's just the way it is. Now, the other thing that I think is, not that what you said, all you said was not important, but one of the things I picked up on was the locks on the doors. Okay, I agree with the lock, I agree with everything you said on that. As you and I talked, Priscilla, the server room, the assessor, the basement, I agree with what Joseph's saying as far as the fact that You know, we give, a key for her to have access to, with the understanding that emergency only, you go down there.
That's election, so we need.
I know, so that, which, there again, you and I talked, that's a whole,
Or something to lock that elections up.
you know, so that opens up a whole nother, discussion because of your, safety of those records.
So are we saying the basement is locked currently and it needs to be accessed for emergencies only such as inclement weather?
Yes.
So why don't we just put a key in a glass box, and if there's a tornado, you gotta break it and get down there, and then we know who went down there? Or, I mean, we could have a key locker, but I think those are probably a little expensive for what we need it for. I think that things should be locked at the office, if there's, you know, I'm not saying that community members are deceitful or anything, but just if people aren't watching, there's just a lot of confidential information out there, so it should be secured. So we have offices where they can lock the doors, so it'd be nice, but I don't think that that is even feasible at this time.
Yeah, that would be, that would be a little bit of a task. to
So
try to
in
do that.
regards to why the employee hasn't been paid, why has the employee not been paid? So why is the check?
As a legal issue that I need Kristen's guidance on, I didn't touch on that.
Okay, so has she submitted all of her HR paperwork to you or Priscilla or whoever needs to get it?
So I can tell you, I handed Joseph the paperwork for her to fill out. Joseph, we told Joseph that there was a new I-9 form, and Joseph said he would print it off and get it. When he brings me back the I-9 form, it states the state of Michigan new hire reporting form. That's the form he handed me. The new I-9 form is this. I was at the office a few minutes ago, picking up something, and she was there. I had her fill out the new I-9 form, and we were on our way here, so I do have her new I-9 form that I had filled out. Other than that, that's all I've done with her HR. She called me on, Monday evening. Was it Monday evening?
That she was there till 10:30, and she could have.
No, I wasn't even there when she called me. I was on driving.
Why were there two vehicles in the driveway? That's what I'm saying. That's why I didn't go in that day, and I went in at 5 o'clock the next morning, because you guys were there.
Well, we leave and come back. We
Okay.
are not always there.
Well, you were there till at least 10:30. You could have, you, and I knew you were running payroll that day, that's why I asked her to call you. I asked her to call you and say, hey, we're running payroll today, call Priscilla because you're missing some paperwork. That paperwork was submitted about a week and a half ago.
Yes.
And
but
if it was
where does this
delinquent of
patient- Where
something,
does this person get paid out of when the building
but that's not for you
department,
to
we have-
decide.
I have to know
But
in
that's
payroll,
not-
where do
but-
I take that money
But you
from?
lawfully have to pay somebody who's worked. You have to pay
I
them.
am paying them. I am gonna pay her. I need to know what payroll am I taking
She
it out
was
of?
out of the building department.
She hasn't worked the building department.
Michelle, I haven't trained you on the building department yet. I haven't worked on a little bit on the building department. We haven't looked at the software.
We work with the software.
And you haven't been looking at the forms? You haven't been looking at the building department forms? Have you been looking at them?
Yes.
Okay. So she's been training in the building department.
Okay, so what we can see from this right here, any new hire, all has to go, all should be funneled through her.
She can supervise the office assistant. I'm not
Well,
doing it.
I'm not saying that.
I'm saying that. She can supervise the office because she wants to micromanage every aspect of that office, so let her.
Right.
Let her micromanage every
I
aspect of
understand
that
what you're
office.
saying, but what I'm saying is, any type of, payroll or anything like that, all needs to be funneled directly
Yeah.
through the court.
She gave me and I gave it to her. If something was deficient, she should have either asked me or asked Michelle directly.
Okay.
That's how it works. You don't wait until somebody doesn't get paid and then not pay them and not process their paperwork. That's not how that works.
I asked her what we were going to do with where we're paying her from.
Okay, now that's a question, Michelle, and this goes to everybody that does things other than, your normal, say, salary, okay? Everything needs to be spelled out. If you work 4 hours for building and 3 hours for deputy, or for treasurer work and 2 hours for something else, that all has to be spelled out on your time card, not just saying that I work 23 hours, or I worked these 4 days, this many hours, okay? It needs to be spelled out. There again, I don't know that if we informed you of that, but those things need to be documented. So that way, when it comes time for her to cut the check, it shows how much money comes out of each budget line item. Okay, there again, and that's on us, okay, because I don't think we clarified that to you.
Okay.
So when was, so the I-9 is like your 1099 probably filled out, right?
No, that's your Homeland Security.
Okay.
It's verification that
Well,
you can work.
I know when I was elected in, I met with Judy and I filled out a lot of paperwork and I signed it, and then I had to meet her at the office, and she had to oath me
Yeah.
in before anything could be done.
Do employees need to be
So what-
open? That's something we don't know.
Okay.
It's all gonna depend on the position. If there's just an office manager, the answer is no. They would have to be an office manager plus have some sort of specific office. Like if you decided to do a code enforcement office, or she gets appointed to do that position, plus she's an office manager, you would have an oath done for purposes of that capacity. But as just a general employee, no.
What about?
There are some townships that do actually regularly do it. I mean, they just give the oath to everybody, but statutorily, it would have to be, it'd actually be required for those specific officials or officers.
All right, what about in regards to, say, collecting taxes? Would she need to be oathed in to do that?
Is she gonna be the deputy or just assistant?
She's
No,
just
just-
collecting taxes. She's just the mail person who receives the
Oh, I-
taxes that
No, I
doesn't
think you're
require
looking,
this.
you'd be swearing in deputy treasurer, deputy clerk,
Right.
clerk
Yes.
She's not holding
treasurer.
an official
Okay.
position.
Correct.
Yeah.
Some places will even swear in your building official, you would swear in code enforcement officer, zoning administrator, commissions, boards, et cetera.
Okay.
Okay, so now she has it, did she just receive it today?
Yeah.
So do you have
Wait, I
everything?
have a question in here, I apologize for interrupting.
Go ahead,
Okay.
Bill.
Priscilla now has a copy of my social security and driver's license. That is the second copy. Where's the first one? Because I gave it to Joseph.
I have to verify that, I can't take it from Joseph. That is my legally statutory duty when I approve this I-9.
Meaning that she needs to physically see that.
Okay,
Card.
now, what I'm saying is, there
I
are
can
now
give you
two
the copy back, cause there's a
copies,
copy in
in
the
the
chart.
office.
There's one on your
And I believe
packet.
you're not supposed to copy those documents to begin with, but we'll skip that. Where is that other copy, and is it going to be destroyed, is it gonna be given back to you?
I'll give it back to you.
Okay. I'm sorry, I don't want my social security card and driver's license, all that.
Nobody does.
Out there
Nobody does. No.
with somebody.
No.
It's one thing, and I don't mind Joseph having it, I just wanna know where these copies are going.
Sure.
No, you can have it back.
Chris, does she have to be bonded now too, for the functions of work that she?
If she's collecting tax money, you could consider bonding her, but typically most places don't bond past the actual officials appointed to the position. And if all she's doing is taking receipt of mail,
She's receiving, so somebody walks in, she could receive a check for $1,000 for the taxes. She doesn't process them. She receives them, puts them in me.
then I would probably get a bond for it. Similar to what you probably have bonded for your deputy treasurer.
So we have a regular bond for all elected officials, then there's a tax bond for the county of Jackson.
Well, your regular bond is individual bonded officials though, right? You have an individual surety for those officials that are bonded.
Correct.
Like your trustees aren't bonded, but you're probably bonded on your supervisor, clerk, you're bonded, and your deputies are bonded. And I don't know what the terms are of the tax bond that the county holds, you'd have to look at that and ask if that has sufficient scope to cover the person who's receiving it, who's not the deputy treasurer.
So how would that work for a bank who's helping us?
Well, the bank has its own obligations as a financial institution.
Okay.
Right, and add on to that, Kathy, independent bank, Pleasant Lake,
Okay.
you can go over there, pay your taxes, at the bank during their normal hours. That has been, something we put in place 16 years ago, I would bet.
I never knew that.
Just keep that
I
in
never
mind.
knew that. You go to the bank and pay
Okay,
your taxes.
Okay, so that was one of the major issues that I heard that Joseph stated, so she's got all her paperwork, so she can write her check. I don't know if payroll's been done, we used to get it electronically deposited, I get a paper check that comes, you know, I don't know, a week, 3 weeks later, I don't know when payroll's always done. I mean, I submitted on the date that I see there's an email from later, it comes in my mailbox, I didn't take a check, so.
I got mine today.
I don't know how, okay, I don't know, I didn't check the mail, it could be there, I mean, can she get a check cut now, or does it have to wait until next payroll? Okay, so she'll get paid, and the key, we've got like some kind of situation that there's gonna be an emergency key, or, I mean, I think what people want is to know who's accessing these secured areas and why. So we don't have a key watcher. I don't know if there's something that's inexpensive that could be put in place. I mean, all I can think of is like a fire extinguisher thing that you have to break it. If there's an emergency where people that aren't supposed to have that key need to get access to the basement to, you know, for shelter.
A code lock.
Well, we can, there again, I think Joseph is asking for us to make a motion on that, so that we have something spelled out.
For liability purposes.
Correct.
If a tornado comes and that's locked and nobody can get in there, even for emergency purposes, and a tree falls on the building and it falls on that person. I had a coworker's grandma die because a tree fell on her second story home and she died during that last storm. It's real. It's not fake, it's real. And we can't take that lightly. We have to secure our documents, I'm not saying that.
But we still have to have a key available. I mean, it's
Right.
gonna be fine to say, okay, well, for emergency, we're gonna put this in place, but we still,
Where are we gonna put
I
that
mean,
key?
yeah, that's what,
Right, that's-
we have
yeah.
to have a key available to people that they know where it is. And if it's, you know, if there's a code or whatever, then people need to know the code.
Could we do something as simple as, a code like on a lockbox for a realtor? I mean, could we do something
Right.
like that?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you a box.
Well, I mean,
But-
if we had
But
that with the
but
understanding
still,
that,
so everybody's still going to have the key, so.
well, no, only who's got the code would have the key.
Anybody
Right.
would be in that
But
building.
what are we, so what are
Well,
you saying,
maybe as if they had the key
she's
too.
not gonna have the code, so she's gonna have to get a hold of one of us, well, if it's a true emergency, who knows if we're gonna be accessible? You know, so then she has to wait and like, oh God, I see this tornado coming, but nobody's answering their phone, so I can't get the code.
No, she'd have to have the code. I mean, they would, whoever it is has to have the code.
Right, well, and that kind of defeats the purpose, like just give her a key, because the codes are just anybody that has the
Give her a
codes
key,
to go in.
goes down there, she's not supposed to, she's done. That's the answer.
And that's fine too.
I do think one of the pieces that I understand about the basement, maybe one of the solutions is a little bit of a broader conversation, because I think its sensitivity to certain records, not really access to the basement, so maybe you need to facilitate some other area to store these records that you want
Thank you.
secured to a specific official. I don't know that the issue
Yeah,
is maybe
build
the
the
basement
wall.
itself, so maybe there's some other, I don't know your layout, but maybe there's a floor plan adjustment or a
Well,
location as to the records that.
Now that you mention that, Chris, which is something we did at Avery's a few years back, we can actually gate off. We could
Oh,
gate,
yeah, like those.
Yeah, the metal accordion gate.
just, I mean, it could be, you know, down past the basement stairs, right just before you get to the first shelving. Put the gate right across that, and you can still get in the basement to get to the furnace, the water heater, all those things, but you just can't get to the records.
Make the motion.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
That would probably be more inexpensive than,
You probably,
kind of like chain link fence, right? And then you put a
it's
door.
similar to that, yeah, but it's,
Accordion style.
yeah, either way, that or,
Heavier.
it's something, you know, like that, yeah, which would make perfect sense. Okay, great, we don't have any numbers, but, Priscilla, would you be satisfied with something like that? That way we- That way, everything past, we'll say east of the staircase would be, secured, basically.
Okay, do we need to make a motion to have it installed, and we don't know a price
We don't
for
know
it
a
yet,
price,
right?
but-
Are there numerous people that do it, or is there?
Probably not, I mean.
2x4s and always really don't use the expanders, you could put up a wall with another access door.
there again, by the time you get somebody in there to do that, we're still gonna have $3,000 or $4,000.
It would have to be a contract, we just couldn't,
No.
everybody grab their old 2x4s and go put it in.
Handsaws.
Couldn't be obeyed.
Yeah.
So there again, we have reached out to Ron Tripp, and we've reached out to Bill Chapin in regards to the front entryway. I know, and I can't think of the name either. Yes, do we wanna reach out to them and have them get us a price on that? Ron, Bill, and, did you say Circle, is it Circle? I can't think of it either, but yeah, if we could reach out to those three and get something, get a price on those, and we can get moving. Is there again, I understand, you know, Joseph's concerned about having a motion. Do you wanna make the motion to get started?
I mean, we can, I just want, if the motion is to lock the door and not give the key to anybody, then I want that spelled out, every single word, every single letter. But if we're working on a resolution, I'm fine with that, and if we wanna get numbers first, that's fine, or do we wanna have a motion, and then we just get numbers later?
All right, why
Well, I
don't we
think we
just,
need to get it moved quickly, I mean, it's an emergency, Joseph stated that it's an emergency.
Well, yeah, it certainly could be.
We're still having storms, or, you know.
All right, why don't we do
I
it?
think that we shouldn't leave it locked and.
Okay,
not
there
accessible at
again,
this point.
Priscilla feels more comfortable having it locked up, which there again, she's in charge of all the records, so that, those all fall on her. So why don't we, Priscilla, would it be, okay if you gave Michelle a key for the time being until we get this problem resolved in the basement? That way, it can remain locked. The understanding is, Michelle, if you go in the basement and you're not supposed to be in the basement, you're relieved of duty.
Okay.
If there's an emergency, you've got the key, you can get it. Is that fair enough?
That's fine.
I mean, is that okay with you? For the time being, until we get this resolved, and then that way, once we get this resolved,
When are we planning on putting the locks in the basement for the records? Cause those are the election records, and we have MCL laws, we
Yep.
have to
Well,
follow.
we'll leave it locked for now. Leave it locked with her having a key. And as far as that goes, saying, well, Ashley's gotta have a key.
Ashley has a key, you have a key.
Well, Ashley has to have a key.
And I
And
don't
we
have,
don't
I
sell-
don't have.
I haven't given you a key, because I haven't seen you except today, and last night to get a fire department check, that was it.
Okay. So, okay, are we good on that then, or do we need to make a motion on that?
Don't they trust anybody they
No.
work with?
Wanna make a
No.
motion?
They don't.
I got her.
Now, listen to,
Oh, I don't know what this is.
what, on the motion?
Well, no, on the way to
I
completion.
cleaned them. I could go down anytime.
Well, we can't, we don't know the contractor schedules. I mean, we can tell them we want it done next week, and they're gonna laugh at us.
But I
Right,
couldn't.
so there again, as long as she's got a key
I
and
know.
has access to the basement, let's just move forward.
I won't make a motion. I will say I'll make a motion that we get this taken care of as soon as possible with I suppose an accordion style, barrier that would take care of the.
Those things are really expensive.
Yeah.
Or just do
I'm
a,
thinking just like when they have in apartment buildings, you know how like you go to apartment buildings and you go down in the basement and you have your storage locker there, it's made out of like chain link fence and there's like a little door on it, but you just build something like that and.
Build a wall.
Like the school has. Like a dog kennel.
do a wall with a doorway.
Jerry, what about, like waterproof containers that actually lock? Because technically if there's an emergency and they're in something like a storage locker, you can't save the records either, and right now nothing's digital. So we would lose all of the records.
Right, there again, lockable storage, lockable waterproof storage containers are probably gonna be very costly also. Let's move forward with this, let's get this figured out. We need some form of a barrier, okay, with a lock. It can be as simple as that, I think, Ann, right? So, can you read down what you've got, Rochelle?
For the motion?
Yes.
Go ahead, Grace.
Just, as soon as possible, we get the contractor down there to put in a barrier, wall, some sort, to
until that's done, you're providing keys to these other individuals.
Okay, you good? Okay, is there support on that?
I'll support.
Okay. We'll roll call, Bryce, Christine?
Yes.
Joseph?
Yes.
I'll vote yes for Phil. Motion carried. Okay. You good with all that so far? Okay. Are we good for you to go ahead and get started?
So the mail that Joseph discussed, I signed for his mail at the mail, it says to the treasurer, there's probably checks. And if I'm signing for the mail, for the treasurer to pick up his mail, then I'm handing it to him. I'm not gonna put it in inner mail to be responsible. And I seen him at the office, I went in and I gave him his mail and told him thanks and walked back out the door. If he wants to get his own mail that's addressed to the treasurer and sign for it, I have no problem. But I'm not gonna just leave something that I signed for
Right,
in a drawer.
Because you're saying that way, you're responsible for it, you signed for it, you wanna see that you hand it off directly to him.
And that's the only mail that I've asked him about. The rest of his mail, I have walked all of his mail to the drop box every day. So I have not done anything with the mail, except I asked him about I had 4 that I signed for.
Sure.
So if I'm signing for them, I'm handing them. I have not taken and put them in a drawer.
Okay.
Or he can sign for them himself.
What's your thoughts?
I can
on
sign for myself, I'm good.
Okay.
Well, here's the problem.
Most of us close.
With your schedule, are you
I'll
gonna be able
figure
to
it
do
out. I'll figure it out, I'll do it at least once a week.
Okay. so
I'll
you-
figure it out,
okay.
they open on Saturdays, I know how
Yep.
to sign,
Yep.
I've done it for a while now.
Saturdays hours, Tim, are
8:30 to 10.
8:30 to 10 on Saturday. Okay, so you won't be signing anything, you'll then handle that at the post office?
Anything that's for me that needs my signature, I'll sign.
Okay, all right, perfect. All right, anything else for Phil on anything that he had? Okay, you wanna go ahead and bring up the issues you have?
It's come to my attention during my research of all these issues that have been affecting our community. I have been able to correct some of them and have plans to correct others in the future. I have discovered something that only you can answer for me, Joseph. Can you explain to the board and the community how you, as a public citizen with no bond, no board approval, and not on payroll for Rives Township, been appointed to be the point of contact for our township computer access from December of '21?
Okay, hold on.
Yeah,
Did you even do any research on that? First, before you say that, did you do research on that? Did you know that VC3, when I took over as treasurer, I'm still Janina? Do you know that they just put my name on that account? That's all they did. How the heck did I'm trying not to swear. I don't swear, I don't like to swear, okay? I don't like to swear. How would I, in anybody's mind, have access? I didn't even know what IT company we had until I started working there. You need to do some research before you jump to conclusions. You must be so tired from jumping to all those
I
conclusions.
did, oh my God, I got taken off the computer last week. And then I couldn't get back on, and they told me I
Hey,
didn't have
Michelle,
admin
you were there,
rights.
you were there when I told them to make sure she's the IT person, because I heard that for somehow they changed it and it was me. I said, whatever you do, she's number 1, I can maybe be number 2, but I should never be number 1. She was there when I was that
I
problem.
had no access last week.
It wasn't me, I didn't do anything.
Somebody,
I
so
didn't
this
do
is
anything.
what I got from IT Rives. Good afternoon. I've been speaking with Mitch about the issues you've been surrounding Joseph Yang's access request. He mentioned you needed a breakdown of detail, is what I can tell you so far. Joseph has been flagged as notification contact in our system for quite some time. His contact records was added to the account in December of '21.
How?
I don't know, but that's
But
exactly what I
but
have.
if you think and logically think this through, just logically think it through. Why would I be in the office the only time I've actually ever been in that office is when I interviewed for the trustee position prior to me becoming the treasurer. That is the only time I've ever stepped foot in that office. Like ever prior to me being treasurer, honestly. Why would it, but if you think about it, you should have asked him, why is he listed there? He didn't even work. He has no reason to be listed. Why is that? Or could it be that they just put my name on what Janina had in the past? Like, that's the logical explanation. And all you gotta do is, okay, well, he shouldn't be the admin, take him off. I didn't call to ask him for that. Do you have a record of me calling to ask to be the admin? Show me that. I promise you that doesn't exist.
What trustee position did you
When
interview
Cliff
for?
Roll passed away.
Oh, like when was that, in 2017 or something?
That's the only time I've ever been in that, inside that office, prior to me being the treasurer, ever.
I had no issues until I had no access last week.
It wasn't me. I didn't do
When I
anything.
called to get access, they said that you had all the access, I had nothing. I couldn't even put my name on the computer list. So I had no computer.
So you
for 3
couldn't
days.
just call me and say, hey,
I know, I called Jerry and they
but if I'm the
told me-
one who has the access, why
But-
wouldn't you call me?
But they said I had to have the supervisor to put myself on access. So I had to have letters from Jerry to get on for access.
So Jerry, did you write a letter putting me as admin? Cause I wouldn't, if that's the logic, I wouldn't have been able to put on without a certified letter from Jerry. Does,
Well,
did that
I
track?
was on before with Judy when she put me over on the 9th, but that's what happened. And then
Why
I
don't
had
you call
no
me?
access
You
for
could-
3 days.
You
I
call
called-
me
they
day
told-
and day, you call me at
they-
midnight, you could have called and said, hey, I can't access my computer, and they're saying you have admin, can you help me troubleshoot this? I have an IT background, I can help you troubleshoot this, I have no problem with that, but no, you
No,
jump
they-
to conclusions and say I've had
they
access
said-
to 2021 as a resident.
So this is what I got in from these three, and this is what the
Yes,
ID.
Bryce, sorry.
Can I interpose something? Somebody out here says that they can go and clarify this for both parties.
I can clarify, if I can talk for a second. I
Well,
have-
no, no,
It will clear up both of their sides, I know
Well,
what's going on.
let's just,
So that
Why
they don't
would you
fight.
not want to?
I'm not fighting, I'm not the
I
admin.
know,
I'm
I'm just
good.
saying, like, so there's no argument, I
well,
don't.
let's, one thing that we're taking from this right here is, you know, and as I said to you guys on day one, I think we were right out there in the middle of the room when I walked up to you, and no matter what, we've got to communicate, okay? And I said the same thing to you, Joe,
And
no
they
matter
told me
what,
I
we
had to
gotta.
have a supervisor to put me on as admin. And
Right.
that's exactly what
Right.
that's what they told me, and that's exactly what I did. That's how I got admin.
But the bottom line is, we've gotta communicate, okay? And I know it's difficult in some cases, but we've gotta be able to communicate. All of us need to communicate. Okay, go ahead, Rochelle.
Once you became the official treasurer on June 11th, you didn't obtain the state of Michigan Treasury Department for our state revenue sharing or to the Jackson County for the tax bond until to the Jackson County tax bond, and still unclear about whose password you're using for federal government. I became aware of this fact in regarding to state revenue sharing by getting emails that should have been addressed. When I asked about the Treasury's emails, you stated it was the state revenue and you would take care of it. A week went by and another email came, and it's when I took action and contacted the state of Michigan myself to get instructions on how to add you properly to the revenue sharing account of the state of Michigan. A letter was written and signed by the supervisor, then handed to you to process the letter to get on the state revenue account on July sixth.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I mean, if there's something you need to
The point of
do,
the idea is, Joseph, you're not taking, I'm doing.
if you
all
don't
of
wanna
that.
do it, you just
I'll
keep
let you
forwarding
fail.
the email. You
I
forward,
didn't-
that's how the
No, you're
office
the one
works.
that looked at it on my desk and I asked you, what does this mean? Cause it came across treasury.
Okay,
and
yeah,
you're the one
that
that
was the
said,
first
"Oh,
week
that's-"
I was in office.
No, that was like
Oh.
the fourth week.
Okay. If you keep getting the email, you keep forwarding it, hey, this is the second email I've gotten, can you check into it? But then by the time I check, you've already done it, why am I gonna do it again? If you don't wanna do it, don't do it. Forward it to me, let me fail. But forward it to me though, if you don't forward it to me, that's your fault. But if you forward it to me and I don't do it, that's my fault.
That's right.
That's how that works.
And he's not wrong, he's not
Right.
wrong.
But I can so.
And you did it already, so why am I gonna do it again? I can't do it again. And the federal tax, I have my own EFTPS account. I added Rives Township to my own EFTPS account and I paid it that way. That's how that works. But if you get ADP payroll like you said you're supposed to be doing, you wouldn't have to worry about that.
I had to close this payroll out today, this week, and it's going over to ADP.
Thank you.
So that's where we're at with the ADP, because people would like to have their, ACH direct deposit that we haven't had done here. So I am doing the ATP.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the responsibilities as a clerk is to reconcile the bank statements it requires. I have copies of bank statements, receipts, and deposit slips. I've never received any deposit slips. I've asked and I've asked. So,
And I
I
asked
get
you-
yellow and I get whites. I get the bank statements and I get the yellows.
So-
I have, what I have here
Give
is,
me back the June ones. I'll get into tonight.
no, I have
Stay
them
out of the
all
office
here.
and I'll get into tonight.
I've reconciled everything that, I have half of it done. I can't do any more until you give me these back so I can move forward.
Give it to me. I'll have them by midnight tonight, as long as you stay out of the office.
So,
You-
She holds the right.
the
When
building,
I asked you what you
He has a
needed,
right to be this man.
you never came back to me. I hit the ball to your court, you never hit it back. I can't play ball if I don't got the ball. Next.
because I've given you things back to fix and I don't get them back. I haven't, no,
You don't
no, I've
communicate with
given
me.
you a bank,
You don't-
I've given you a
you don't
bank
communicate
statement
with-
with interest on it.
And I asked you,
and it
what
doesn't come
specifically
back.
do you need to help you reconcile? Because to me, if you originally asked me to give you yellows as I write them, that's confusing to me. If I give you a yellow every time I write one, and then I didn't make a deposit of $10,000 made out of 20 yellows, how do you know which yellow goes with that deposit? But that's how you wanted it, okay? And now you have all the yellows, and I don't know what else I need to give you, because I can't match up anything on my end to what I'm giving you. Because now you have all the yellows. I know what you need now, I will get it to you by midnight tonight. Next.
So the building department, you gave me all of these slips for the building department. When Ashley and I went through the building department, these all need to be voided because the building department comes through the BS&A. It doesn't come through the yellows.
I'm not sure what you mean by voided, like just voided on our,
You gotta void
okay?
it on
So you
the
couldn't just say
receipt.
that to me? Okay,
No,
give it to me,
no.
midnight, give it to me.
So,
Come on.
these are,
Come on.
what,
Midnight, I'll give it, midnight, give it to me.
Calm down. We're okay.
It's not a reason to be upset. Really?
so the,
Hey, guys,
when
let's keep it down.
when I send things over to you, Joseph, I don't get things back.
Okay, what if?
And if I get them back, sometimes they're not what I asked for to get to begin with. I have to be able to, it's like the one June statement I gave you, that had you gave me a yellow slip that had the general ledger on it, that the interest was still in the city department. I asked for it to go back, and then I got the bank statement back, but I didn't get the yellow back. as a corrective.
Okay.
I can't work and keep doing work again. If I'm giving it to you and I'm handing you out the stuff, I expect it to come back.
Okay, good.
Done.
Good.
So these are all of the, so on these, you have to cancel them and your receipts. But, we have questions because the permits department, it says, what is this parcel for? And the 170 doesn't come up anywhere in the department, in the permits. No permit for this, but we have $100. We have, this one in the system states there's $100 balance, but we have $100 check here. We don't know if it was cash, if it was a check, we don't know anything.
So when did you communicate those issues to me?
This is what we've been working, Ashley and I worked on yesterday and today.
So when did you communicate that issue to me?
I haven't yet.
Okay, so why is it here
Because-
when you haven't even
No,
communicated that
because
issue to me?
we've been working on this issue at the office for the last 2 days. Ashley and I, trying to get the building department.
And if I was the one who made all these entries, why wouldn't you guys include me in that conversation and ask me?
Well, where are you ever at? Because you don't.
Well, y'all ain't called
I'm
me.
at that office every day, Joseph.
Would you
Okay,
like to cookie?
no, come on, come on.
I don't have to be there. Statutory, I don't have to be there. I have office hours. If she wants to live there, she can live there. She cannot expect me to live there because she lives
I'm
there.
not expecting you to live there, but I have job duties that have to be done.
Yes, and you didn't communicate that. That's the bottom line. That's it. That's the bottom line.
When I get emails that say stuff like this, I am not gonna respond to them, Joseph. When you tell me to put somebody on immediately, you tell me I have to do this, I have to do that, you know what, I can do it at any time, I can do it, but I'm not gonna do it at the drop of the hat, when it's
But
not
you
an
expect that from everybody
emergency.
else though.
But no, I
You
have
expect that
a
from
whole lot of
everybody.
things.
How many times have you called, texted us after 10, on the weekends, midnight, leave us messages?
Yeah, and that's when I leave them, and you can read them whenever
So you
would
think our
want.
phone don't go off?
So,
I will tell you, Joseph, mine does not, because it's on sure. I wake up in the morning, I'm like, what in the hell was she doing calling me at 1:30 in the morning?
well,
Doesn't matter, because I didn't hear it. So, and there again, and I don't know your situation, Joseph, as far
My
as.
phone turns off at 10. There are 5 people who can reach me after 10.
Okay, you know, so that, I think, on your end, okay, that's one of the things that I would like to tell you. You know, I think, I don't know what night, Sunday night, I think I got a text or call from you at like 9:30 or something. And, you know, unless the township office is on fire. Try not to. No, that's not what I'm saying. I don't have a problem with you calling me, just maybe not Sunday night at 9:30. You know, that would be my, you know, and I understand what Joseph's saying, but I just laugh, like I say, I laugh when I see it because you know I don't hear it because I told you that.
right.
You know, and
Well,
I don't have. a
sometimes
problem.
I just do it when I'm doing it.
Yeah, and I don't have a
then
problem with that.
You
No.
respond whenever you do.
Yep, no, and I understand that.
So, I got an IRS yesterday in the mail. Where do we want to put this applied credit that, has been put, the 941 credit, that you've done?
At our house.
So, we had an overpayment.
Right. So is this something he needs to tell you where it has to go, or is this something he
That
does
he
himself?
can deal with it.
So why does this have to come to the full board? This is the kind of stuff I don't understand. Communication is key. We got an IRS credit. Which would you like, where would you like it to go? That's a simple conversation. Why does it have to come to a board like this? I don't understand. This, like,
Joseph, because you don't communicate at all. You walk
I-
in that office and the other night I walked in and I said, hey, I have your
cause
mail.
I was on the phone with IT, cause I couldn't log into my system. If you saw, I had earphones in, and I was talking, and you walked in with the mail. You wanna see my call log? I have the evidence. I'm an attorney. I don't have beliefs. I have evidence. Take your beliefs to church. As an attorney, we have evidence, facts and evidence. We don't believe in anything. Take your beliefs to church. You believe I wasn't listening to you, but I know I was on a call with VC3.
So, those are the reconcilings. I'm gonna hand you back a whole bunch of more bank statements that I'm gonna just hand them back to you. I'm not writing anything on them, and I'm gonna have you fix them and bring them back.
Okay. Put them on my desk.
I will do
Okay,
that.
so, but what you're both saying here, Priscilla walked in, she didn't see that he was on the phone. You were on the phone, you obviously saw that she was talking to you, so you could have acknowledged, you know, I'm on the phone, I'll talk
I
to you in
said
a
thank you,
moment.
because I saw her bringing me the mail. I said thank you, like mouthed it, and she left.
Okay.
I mean, I'm on the phone.
And she
I'm on
might
the
not have
phone.
known if you were on here.
And that, then stop jumping to conclusions.
Right.
She's jumping to conclusions.
In fairness, I do the same thing. I've got mine in all the time at work, and people, I'm standing out there with a fuel tank, fueling up, and people think I'm talking to myself, and I'm really not. They don't,
I don't
or maybe I
Yeah,
am.
I don't always know when my son's
Sure,
working,
sure.
and I'm just like, why are you not answering me? And he's like, Mom, I had my ear.
I saw her come in. I realized she was giving me mail. I turned. I was on the phone. If she might not have seen my earbuds in, and I said, and then I turned back around because I was trying to pay attention to the person that was talking to me. I don't know what else there is to do.
Go ahead, Michelle.
So, you said that I was rummaging through your stuff. No, when I was over, when Judy and I were looking for deposit slips because we couldn't do two of the reconciling.
So you were rummaging in my stuff.
So,
Now you just said
on
what
the
you said.
side of your desk where Judy and I looked, because there was papers laying there, and I said, and Judy said, is this the safe combination? And she said the Sigma, that there was a paper laying like this with the Sigma, and it was the Sigma and the safe combination laying on your side. I called Jerry with Judy standing there, and I said, Jerry, what do you want me to do with unsecured safe and unsecured passwords to the state of Michigan? And Jerry told me to lock them up and bring them today. And here's your passwords back in your safe.
Okay. So you just said you rummaged through all my stuff.
No, I didn't rummage through
Got
your
it. That's
stuff.
exactly what you said. Thank you. Yep. That's why none of my stuff is on the desk anymore. Everything's locked up. Even pens will be locked up. now. I might lock them up.
Like the children.
So, in the building department today,
Wait, so, your desk locks.
It's locked now.
You're an attorney too.
It's
I
completely
trust
locked.
everybody in my office, but who I don't trust are all our clients come in, and there might be
Nobody should be
something
coming
open.
in our office anyways.
But there are people right now.
They're not coming in our office anyways.
If someone needs to come to get a FOIA,
They come right to the desk and they go right back out. They should, my office is my desk is in the
only
corner.
employees in the office right now.
My desk is in the corner. They would have to make an effort to get to my desk.
So there's not a window or anything?
No.
I mean,
They-
I would
they-
just think it's second nature, Joseph, and I'm not saying that, you know, you don't leave stuff on your desk or in your office, but that's the first thing I do, I work in court and I.
Everything's
that
locked up
computer
now. Nothing's on my desk. Envelopes are locked up too, so everything's locked
Okay,
up.
I think that's a good idea, I
Yeah.
don't know why.
Well,
things are-
it's good practice. I mean, that's good practice.
so while we were working on the department, or in the building department, Ashley and I, it looks like that you was in the building department on 8/25.
Mhm.
Ashley took over that account on the first of the month. She's actually responsible for that account. And it hasn't balanced, so she's trying to balance that account while somebody else is in doing whatever it's her responsibility when she took that responsibility. And now we have papers that show that you went in and did a training test, and the responsibility is now on her, because it could be compromised because you accessed it and you didn't want any statutory duties, non-statutory duties. So.
I was showing Michelle, we did a trial walkthrough, so I could show her what I knew. Because no, you didn't want to onboard her. You didn't even want her to have paperwork. You didn't want her to have keys. She was supposed to be started already and be in that office so that she can start greeting people. You decided to not do that, okay?
No.
You, no, you decided to not do that. Yes, there's a test, and whose property is it? It's my property. And so we did a test, we realized, oh, we went a little bit too far on the test and we did something we shouldn't have said. That's it.
Right, but that actually is Ashley's responsibility.
So why didn't she come in and train with Ashley? Because you wouldn't let her.
I didn't say it, I never said anything, that's Ashley's thing, that's not mine. Joseph, you're acting like it's all
She
me.
can't come
It
in the
is
office.
not me.
How can she come in the office right now?
Huh?
Can she come in the office from 10 to 2?
Yes, soon she
How?
gets the key,
Exactly.
and soon she gets the password.
Exactly. How long has it been since she's been hired?
Well, Joseph, you've been on vacation for a whole week.
I'm her immediate, she's my direct, but I'm not in charge of the keys and the code.
Right.
I
you
can't
didn't
give that
set
to
up
her.
anything and say anything to me. All you did
As
was,
immediate as she
I'm
was
on
hired,
vacation.
as immediate as she was hired, I sent an email out to the whole board. I said, please give me feedback on what you think she might need to do for you, okay? And let's get her onboarded ASAP. I got her email down, but she'll need keys and a code and a desk.
You said that.
Does she even have keys? Does she even have a code?
No, I just did her I-9 tonight, Joseph. That's the first time I've seen her.
I was on vacation, she wasn't.
Okay, so now, you've got her I-9,
Right.
so you can get her keys handed over to her, what, Tuesday? Get her a code, you can get all that set up for her for Tuesday? Okay. And that way she can get started.
And if I'm so bad in that office, why isn't Ashley here?
She must have thick skin, cause I don't, so.
Now, hold on.
Okay.
There again, we've got a difference, I mean, it's just personalities is all it is.
It's communication, it's not personality, it's
No,
communication.
you're correct.
It's
It
communication,
is.
number one is communication.
But it's the lack of communication, okay, from both of you guys.
And I've taken the walk-ins and I've taken the hits for every time people decide they're mad because there's no treasurer there, there's nobody there for the treasury department to take their tax money. And I'm the one that's walking myself out the door and showing them where it is. If that isn't what, I have done that 4 times today. Walking people out to the drop box, giving them envelopes, accommodating them, Joseph, for, nobody.
We hired Michelle for that 3 weeks ago.
So there again, keep in mind, even though you would like to see Joseph in the office 9 to 2, 4 days a week.
I'm not saying
I
Joseph,
No, I understand that,
but, his deputy does no hours.
that's,
And,
but that's not,
community service.
that's not for you to decide either, okay? That's for him to decide. Okay.
So now we're paying 3 people to do that job. We're doing the treasurer,
What job?
the deputy, and now we have this, office manager that is doing,
Office
taking the,
assistant.
office assistant, sorry, that's doing this job, and she's not doing my job. She's taking the taxes for Joseph.
There again, as we stated, when she's doing taxes, she's got to write on there that she's doing
Is she
taxes.
looking at her
Now
attorney?
granted, is it gonna be, it doesn't take
And
an
then
hour
where
to
is
take
that
somebody's
money
taxes,
coming
but
from?
those things have to be, we have to figure that out. Is it staff, is it taxes, is it, part of his deputy wages? Those are things that we have to figure out. And those have to be, those on her time card, when she writes her time card down, she's gotta, list that stuff.
She's not, the time card that she's submitted, she's not taking any taxes. She's just taking taxes today, it was probably the first time
Okay.
she's actually taking taxes.
Okay.
Because I wanted to train her on that.
Sure.
Because if she's gonna be the face, and she did a great job, she took probably about 4 people's taxes. I took 3 people before her. I mean, it's, I don't know how she's gonna track that though.
Right.
We gotta figure out a mechanism for her to track how many taxes and how long it took her.
Sure.
If it's a check, it took 30 seconds. If it's
And where is
cash.
that money coming from the treasure, is it coming out of the treasury department? If it's the taxes, it's coming out of somewhere on the treasury department.
That's where we have to figure that out on our end. There again, Joseph being her direct supervisor, she needs to,
It's the.
I'm not his direct supervisor. She reports to me if she has issues.
okay,
This board supervises her. That was made clear.
That's right.
well,
That was made, I'm only and that's not fair to her,
no,
okay?
Well, it's-
She doesn't know what she's supposed to do. She walks into the office and is like, I have no
We'll let you know.
keys, I don't have a code,
we're gonna get that handled.
what do I do? I'm not trained, I don't know. And so I'm doing my best. When I'm there, I tell, these are my office hours, until we can get you a key, and you can start learning and triaging things during the daytime. But at least while I'm there, I can give you examples, and just like the building department, and I'll work with Ashley if I need to reverse that, or figure out if I gotta pay a fine for that, I'll pay a fine for that. If I gotta pay her wage to reverse that, I'll pay her wage to reverse that. It was a training, it was a training
It's the
issue.
point of the idea.
I wasn't making a building permit. I was showing her what it looked like, and we accidentally pressed save. And we even canceled the permit and reversed it. We didn't delete it, we canceled it and reversed it. We tried to avoid it, we couldn't avoid it. I was like, oh, we'll just leave it.
So those are the things, you know, that need to,
Question,
Okay,
Yeah, go ahead, Bryce.
I know it's gonna be difficult for her to go and differentiate which department and stuff like that. Is this something that could be brought up, at the next budget hearing next year to just go and put some funding down just for that position? Only
Yes.
then they don't have to go.
so
We certainly could.
this, the building department budget is $14,000, or $12,000 for salaries, okay? I have
That includes the inspection.
And so,
right?
it doesn't, that's separate. That's separate, that is separate, that is all separate. And so, when I proposed this, that's what I talked about. I said having her come out of the building department, and her main job is the building department. Salaries of the building department is $14,000.
right, but
The
if they're
building
doing your
inspectors
jobs, it has to come out of the
Receiving
treasury.
the mail
There
for
again,
5 minutes out the day.
there will be a portion. It may
Okay,
be
fine,
a small
take that out of
portion.
my salary. The 1 hour per week that she takes taxes, take it out of my salary. Whatever that is, reduce that from my salary for that month. I don't care.
This is
It's
ridiculous.
unfathomable that I am responsible to be there when a resident walks in the door every hour, every minute of every day. Not to disrespect a resident, but I cannot do that.
And you are not required.
And I'm not required to do that. By law,
Let it go.
I, as a courtesy, try to have weekly office hours. As a courtesy, you can mail it in, you can drop it in the Dropbox. Pleasant Lake is available Monday through Saturday.
Yep.
Those are all your options. You can call me, make an appointment. I will meet you at 5 o'clock in the morning if I need to.
No, you won't.
So we throw it in the mail. Other residents have asked me to explore online payment with credit cards. I am looking into that with BSNA to see what the cost would be for that. And if it's reasonable for us to do that or not. There are many ways to pay your taxes.
And
Independent bank.
some of those places that you do that, you can pay your taxes and then they charge you.
They charge you a fee.
3% fee or whatever.
Yeah, the customer pays it.
Yeah, right, so if that is an option, it
And
is
it
not.
doesn't cost us anything,
Correct.
we might need to implement that for the winter
Sure,
taxes.
that would just make it easier for everyone.
Another way to pay your taxes.
And keep in mind also, you can call independent bank. You don't even have to physically go there. You can call independent bank and have that money transferred out of your account directly into the township account to get your taxes paid. So just another thought.
So, when I proposed the position, I knew there was $14,000 in the permit department. And that would have been her main role would be the permit department. Because in the month and a half that I did it, I realized it's a little bit more time consuming than people think it is.
Absolutely.
It is very time consuming. And I only did the first part of the permitting part, I didn't even do the second part, which is closing out permits that are completed.
Right.
I was just making sure people could build their decks and do what they needed to do, at least on the front end, until we figured this out. And I was bridging that gap, okay? And maybe I did make mistakes pushing out too much stuff, okay? I will reconcile that, I will get that figured out. First I've heard of it today.
There again, and, Joseph just said something, making a mistake, okay? You guys are 2 months on the job. You're gonna make mistakes.
No kidding.
Okay, I'm 26 years on the job and I'm gonna make one. Okay, shit happens. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen to all of us. Just own it, figure it out, move past it, whatever it is.
That's
Whatever
no
it is.
problem, owning it.
So, just, so there again, these are good things to be discussing.
No, I've owned some of my mistakes.
No.
I don't
Hey,
read it
hey,
all
hey,
later.
come on. What else you got?
I'm done.
You're done? Okay. Okay, now, here we are. One of the biggest things I think that we've got is communicating.
Nice.
I know that you're saying that you want everything emailed.
I want everything in writing until I say that I know, because
Okay.
this, everything needs to be in writing.
Okay, Priscilla, are you okay with that? Okay. There again, you guys still, you guys communicate with me, email, text, phone. Obviously, text and phone is a lot quicker, a lot faster. I try to be as accommodating as I can. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but I try. I don't know, Chris, is there anything that you can, enlighten us on to kind of?
I had a couple thoughts sitting here listening. Just like in the broader perspective, what we've done in other communities that I think have worked out very well, obviously there is cost related to this, but there are actual individual consultants who are trained with respect to, some of them have specific training in sort of relationship building among officers. They're particularly focused in municipalities where you have a situation of elected officials that are having sort of a conflict and working together. We've done it where we've had situations between two elected officials on a board. You know that they have to work together through the rest of their term. And so the whole board could meet in like a work session or an educational style session with someone who sort of has, we kind of like the individuals who are focused on the relationship building, but also come to it from a municipal background. So they have background in sort of what's the treasurer doing, what the clerk's doing. So there's sort of like Lou Bender, who's somebody who's done a lot of that work, who is someone that you could look at. Maynor, who is in East Lansing, actually has sort of an individual, they've been trying to provide kind of a service in these types of situations for individuals who would come in and help you. If it's more of a dispute of like policies and sort of how you would work with reconciliation, or how would you work out between the clerk and treasurer's office, between the yellow sort of receipts getting passed through, getting them accounted for, ending up with statements, etc. They would even sit down, interview the individual offices, give you an idea based on the statutes of proposed policies, if that's what you need, is more detail and policies to work together.
We have no policies in the office.
So we have seen that situation. That's not inexpensive to go with someone with that direction, but it does provide, I think, not only maybe the opportunity to sort of facilitate the relationship building aspect, but then you end up with deliverables typically from the process that the board would have to take up. You'd have to make board decisions as to policy items. And then the other thing that sort of, that I was thinking of with respect to just being, I think, even practicing in this area, the individual elected officials, like I think the supervisor mentioned, you have a lot to learn. There's a lot to figure out. The statutory nuances are pretty detailed. That can go from anything with respect to timelines to the obligations to complete the work. And then I think it's very true to appreciate that in a rural community like this, the non-statutory pieces of sort of working together in a really a cooperative environment, whether it's shoveling the sidewalk or checking the mail, things that you're not going to find in a statute that's assigned to any of your duties. Some of those things can be worked out, like the MTA actually does specific official focus retreats. It's probably much more affordable than the individual one-off consulting that I offer. or that I was sort of recommending, where you could go and do a clerk's retreat, and a trustees retreat, and a
It's
treasurer's
been there long
retreat,
before.
and a supervisor's retreat. They've been around for a long time, they're on the list here, you've got them literally coming up here in the next couple of weeks, end of September, start of October. I don't know if you guys have already done training, but that can be, I mean, I think there's two helpful aspects there. It's not just the substantive information, right? You'll be surrounded by other elected officials that have your same official capacity, you can ask them questions. And I think in addition to that, the networking piece of sort of getting to know other clerks, getting to know other treasurers, where if you wanna reach out to them, ask those officials questions, you could.
Yeah, I think that's huge, at least, like with me working with the, county supervisor, the supervisors in the county. I don't think I've missed maybe a couple of those meetings over the course of the years that I've been here. And we build a network amongst ourselves, and, there's another township that's already lived through this, whatever it is. So definitely, you guys, your super, or your treasurer, your clerk, I understand you guys, I believe they're luncheons, ours are dinners, ours are at night, you guys, I think, are during the day. If the opportunity presents itself and you can get in there, it's definitely helpful to get to know all your surrounding township officials.
And then, that's at the county level. There is at the state level, in addition to the MTA, each, the treasurer and the clerk have their own specific associations. You got the Michigan Association of Municipal Clerks, and you got the Michigan Association of Treasurers. So they're running their whole own conference schedule. They have their own resources that are even in addition to, I'm assuming you guys are probably Michigan Township Association members.
Yes.
And then I guess that would be the only other piece. I mean, obviously they have resources, they have staff, you can call them if you're a member and get assistance on that. I think the other pieces is really a conversation among the board is to decide how much detail and policies do you need in place for purposes of working on some of these items. You already addressed some of them this evening, but there are some of the action items related to who's got access to IT, who's got access to BSNA, who needs accounts. If it's gonna be problematic for the individual offices to try to work it out among themselves, then I think the board probably has to appreciate you might have to bring those decisions before this body to reach a decision.
I'll take it, here's my note. I'm done. Close your township down.
There was some sure.
Don't be here, she's done. You
We've
want it, you got
no,
it.
we've already been
No,
through this.
we've
Priscilla.
done this.
We've
I'm
already
done,
been through
Jerry.
this. You can't.
I'm done.
No.
Nope. Those are it, I'm done.
Priscilla, we got a year and 3 months.
I'm done, Jerry.
No.
I make a motion to immediately resign. Who's gonna support it?
Is there support?
Why?
I've done enough. I've been in that office, I've taken a month extra off work, and this is what I got. Forget it.
No.
No.
So, no,
I'm done. I don't care.
we can't.
We can.
No.
I can.
No, you're not a quitter. I
No.
told you this 2 weeks ago
Jerry,
when you and I
I
talked.
told you, if this is how it's gonna be, I was done.
I know you did, but you're not a damn quitter.
I'm not a quitter.
No,
I
you're
can
not.
go to work
Yes,
and
you
go to
can.
work and make more than I'm doing now.
You know-
And I'm gonna tell you, Jerry, I put my ass here.
Yes, you did.
And I'm done.
And I've
No,
commended you for
I'm
that, haven't I?
I'm done.
Have I not commended
Nope,
you for the
I'm
fact
done.
that you have been here, getting things done?
Good luck. You guys no clerk.
Hasn't been approved.
Have a good time. Let Joseph run it.
But she just moved.
Purpose wasn't to have anybody
didn't go
move.
her
No.
Purpose was to get this aired out so we can move forward, but,
Exactly.
Priscilla,
yeah, that wasn't the purpose, that's why I wanted it in closed session.
please, can you stay? We don't need to go through this again, okay? We don't. We just did this 3 months ago.
Jerry, you know, this is how it works. I've been at that office.
Yes, you have, and I have commended you for it. I have commended everybody I've dealt with and talked, that Priscilla is doing, she's going the extra mile, she's there, she's doing her work, and she's working hard at it.
I know you have. I'm
I
good.
told you that yesterday.
that you said that.
Priscilla,
Theory.
No, nobody
Well,
wanted her to
resignations
quit, we
aren't
wanted her
effective
behavior to
until
change.
accepted.
So no, we're not happy.
So
She
you-
can't
doesn't mean she's
change.
gonna show up to work tomorrow.
Correct, right.
She
And you,
can't
you,
Y'all need to be quiet.
till the vacancy is actually exists, you have 45 days to then make an appointment. But yeah, you have to, you don't have to take action on it this evening, obviously. And I don't, the resignation itself, I don't know if it states it's effective immediately or what, but at some point, if you, have to replace that position, you would have to accept it. In the meantime, you also are gonna have to consider, it doesn't have to be this evening as things work out, but you might need to have a special meeting in the near future to authorize somebody, cause as soon as the clerk resigns, the deputy clerk is also done.
Correct.
So,
I don't know if we even have.
oh, okay, alright.
We don't have one.
So, at that point, then it's like you have,
She is.
I'd heard rumors of.
She's okay, she'll be fine.
so, you'd have to decide who is sort of going to, at least from a board perspective, the elected official who's gonna augment the clerk's roles in the short term while you appoint a successor. At least, for purposes of sort of, and like I said, it doesn't need to be tonight, 18 hours notice and you have a special meeting as time plays out. But, you know, at some point, you'd wanna give somebody the ability to, continue to cut payroll and do other things, and then you really need to get a clerk appointed,
Cause they can't do that. State statute doesn't allow anybody to sign on a check, except for the clerk, deputy clerk, treasurer, deputy treasurer. It has to be one for each of those positions.
So, I admit the statute is unfortunately not extremely helpful in a situation like this,
No,
without
it's
you
not.
immediately appointing a sort of a clerk to fill the spot, but we have done it with, board authorization to give someone the ability to sign, still basically make the bills and make the payroll.
What do we do about? the
Otherwise,
election?
you sort of have to plan the ability of the new clerk within the time period for which the payroll's gotta be cut and the checks have to be paid.
See, we hashed this all out with the MTA 4 months ago,
Yep,
and they said absolutely not. There is nobody signing on that dotted line.
that is what they'll say. And it's tough spot to be in.
We got an election coming too.
And for the election, you can typically coordinate with another local jurisdiction to come in, you could pay them by contract to run your election in the short term.
Okay.
We were prepared to do it with the county. I mean, this is not anything I anticipated, at all. Like I said, I mean, we've got two people that just, there again, communication, okay, communication's huge. But, you know, you've got, well, I think we're all that way, we're all, a little strong in our mindset. I mean, we're all that way. But
She might calm down.
it didn't look like it.
You know, Priscilla did a lot of good,
It didn't look like it.
but Jerry,
No,
she did,
just, I know.
but.
No, Mary. Okay, is there any more discussion amongst this board?
I think we need to.
And that's her personality, that's her personality.
So we can't, I mean, the motion's been made, nobody supported, that motion's dead.
No, so, but for us to take the next step, which is to prepare for replacement, if that's, I don't see her coming back.
I mean, obviously, I'm gonna reach out to her, I'm gonna talk to her, but, you know, she's, and there again, and I know you guys have had issues, okay, I know that. But, you know, she hit the ground running and she put the time in, she did. And I certainly didn't wanna see her leave.
Nothing I discussed was about her duties and what she did
No,
in that office.
No.
And she did a great job in that. It's all the other
Right.
office etiquette stuff that
Correct.
That's what
cannot
everybody
be
was saying.
interrupted.
No,
And when I started this, I said, this is not meant to get anybody off the board. It's meant to get us together so we can hash it out and move forward. This was not the intention of this. but my mental health was taking a strain. I needed to do this, and I asked for a closed session because of this. I knew this was gonna be hot and heated of everything I was gonna say, and Gary knew some of it.
I knew some of it.
Yeah.
I knew some of what she was gonna bring up, and I was okay with that, but there again, I would have rather seen it in closed session. You know, there, if you guys wanted to sit back there and smack one another, you could, okay? But that's obviously not the way that happened.
This is not my intention. Just to make sure everybody's clear of that. It wasn't my intention.
Also, we're gonna get entertainment for their tax dollars.
Watch comments or something. Okay,
Only other thing we got is to go for the next public comment.
yep.
I'd like to
So,
speak first.
okay,
So I guess before we go to public comment, we have a regular scheduled board meeting for next week, that's been
next
posted.
Thursday.
Yes.
Has that been posted already? Is that legal? Can we have that meeting?
That is on the books. Yep.
It's a regular scheduled meeting, it's
Yep.
regular, the
It's
first
good, we
meeting.
can have it.
We can have that, so there's no
So-
problem there.
So why don't we see what happens that day?
I will-
Between now and then?
I will get with her,
Yep.
if I cannot convince her, or anybody else can't convince her, bring her on, bring her back, I will get the agenda put together. I will get it forwarded out to everybody. I'll try to, and please, hey, guys, please, when I send that agenda out, if we don't get, Priscilla back, shoot me a quick text or something, let me know if I forgot anything, okay? Well, that's, there again, but we've never, that's,
I know, but it's gonna be brought up, I mean, put it on the agenda.
well, it doesn't matter, I mean, we've never taken board action, I don't believe, in a long time to send somebody to a seminar, that's training. If somebody wants to go to training, go to training.
The problem is, the problem is that trustees don't have a budget line item for training. Only the treasurer, the secretary, the treasurer, the clerk, and the supervisor.
Okay.
And so
All
that's
right,
the
so,
issue.
all right, if that's the case and there's training that you guys want to see, let's find it, bring it up, and let's get it voted on.
And the other thing is, technical voters, except,
Yes, yep, I know you wanted that on there. You had a couple of things on there, I'll look back
It
at
was the
it.
security stuff, kind of thing.
Oh, so you handled that?
One more thing was the like airport security tape measure, I looked at them, they're like $200, that $7,000 bill is kind of too expensive. So, but we need to have a perimeter that's a designated public area. So I was thinking that we buy like this $175 tape, and so that it's delineated and this is the public spot, and you can't go past this authorized people.
Do they didn't have anything in consumers?
So, right now, consumers, the person who does the donations, retired, and they put a hold on the program until further notice. So we can't go get anything, that was the information.
Because I was just thinking like this, you know, the cheaper.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, like, even cubicles, or there's some cubicles that like kind of cut low, where you can actually stand there and do work on. So we can try to figure out something for temper, and then we can use those, cause they're portable, then we can use them for the elections, we can use them for whatever else that we need to use them for, once we get a more permanent solution. That's about $200 right now, I think that's needed to, if we're gonna continue to have an office assistant in that office, to designate that public space, that if somebody wants to come in and film or whatever, that's as far as they can go. They can't go any further than that. And that is designated, it's posted, that is your public space. You can't just wander into our bathrooms, because it's not a public bathroom. So we need to have that, especially when we have it open, and there's times where she's gonna be there by herself, so.
I was gonna bring up at this meeting to, get reimbursed for the last seminar that I went to back on August 10th before our regular
Right,
meeting.
you've got the receipt for
But
that.
because of the fact that this is a special meeting and we have to have everybody here, and now we don't, that'll have to be put on the agenda for next week.
Okay, you got the receipt for that and everything, okay, just bring it in, there again, understandably, we have no clerk, we can't pay you, but.
Thank you.
Nice try.
Voucher, I guess.
Right, you're right, okay.
Turn it in.
Okay, second public comment, Margaret Stevenson. Thank you. Nancy Thorpe,
She left.
Deb Miller.
Most of what I was gonna say doesn't really pertain anymore, but it's nice to see all these buddies getting together and making the Lord work. It's sad to me that there is no trust between these people. I've lived here 54 years, and this is the first time I can remember I have to go to the bank to get a receipt to pay my taxes. But the biggest issue is change. And nobody has approached it as the big picture. We've always had, not always, but in the last, 10 years or so, we've had a treasurer who is there every day, 4 days a week. People get used to that. You walk in, you have a problem, they solve it, you walk out. That's gone. So it's very difficult because they feel like they've been let loose and nobody cares anymore. I did find out that you have a deputy. Normally, I thought when you weren't available, the deputy should be there doing the same work. I don't know how that's going now. I heard you talk about doing a lot of the IT work. What happened to IT Right? We always dealt with them. They took care of the problem. I can't get in, I can't do this, I can't do that. You call them, and things were taken care of.
He was removed.
Just the thought that if we're still paying them to do that service for us, you better use it. That's about all that I will say. Now, did Priscilla have a deputy?
It was questionable.
So shouldn't the deputy be stepping in?
No.
Can't,
No?
doesn't work that way. The law says that
Okay.
she's gone.
Yep, doesn't work that way.
Okay, the clerk doesn't. Any of the others would.
No.
No.
No,
The deputy
none of them
treasurer.
do?
Nope.
It's not
Name
like
one of
the
the
president
deputies.
and vice president, it's not like that.
Okay. So why do we have deputies?
Required
Just
by
a
law.
question.
Thank you, Deb.
Thank you.
Joe Beth Carlton.
Yeah, I am scrapping everything I was gonna say, I just wanted to touch on the IT right thing. I actually had a little bit of communication with them when I was employed by the township and couldn't get in access to my email, so I did have to talk to them a few times. I actually called them on Tuesday and yesterday. The second phone call, I ended up just redoing what my first phone call was, because I didn't think to tape it, so I decided to call again and tape it. And I asked just general, basic questions about procedures with IT Right and how, for any account whatsoever, how would you add an admin and what are the steps to make that happen? Could somebody just call and say, I wanna be an admin, and then they're just like, okay, sure, have at it. There's a two-step verification process for all of this. If Joseph were to call and say, I'm not on there and I'd like to be, they would not only have to two-step him to make sure he is who he says he is, the treasurer of Rives Township, which is usually a phone call and an email from his account, his official account. They would also need the sign-off from somebody else already on the account. In this example, let's say Priscilla, and she would have to not only speak to them, but also send an email from her official account in order for him to even get the access to become an admin. I ended up asking, is it possible that there's any loophole to this whatsoever? They confirmed over and over that no, there is no loophole. They have to verify these things, 2 steps on each end. I ended up saying, because I'm aware of all the government type restrictions on privacy and everything, but this is a private company that I'm speaking to, and I didn't actually need to know any details about the Rives account, but I said, is there any way that you could let me know, without telling me any names whatsoever, how many users we have right now that are considered a point of contact for IT Right for Rives Township? And both times, they agreed that yes, they could tell me the number, but they wouldn't be able to specify any names whatsoever, anything like that. And I have the second recording like, I have it all on tape, I'm recording right now this meeting, but I could share it with the board later or the attorneys present. We have 16 points of contact right now for Rives Township, and now finding out that he's not even one of them. I went through a list last night trying to think of 16 people who actually currently work for the township who would need access. I did ask, is there any way they can tell me if Cliff Hurl is on that list, and they said no. They couldn't tell me more than that, but I thought, how far back does this go? Is Janina still on there? Is Chelsea still on there? Is Stacy on there? Is Judy McCord still on there? These are all people who have access to our account and would be able to verify somebody else. And yet our treasurer right now isn't on there. And he had no idea I did this, because of course I'm not gonna tell him. He's a lawyer and he's my friend. And I'm gonna not involve him in this. But I just wanted to take a chance and see if they could tell me. Somebody right now needs to deal with this, and I told him after the phone call, Joseph, you may wanna call and deal with the fact that there's 16 people. I don't know who they are, but there's 16 of them. And he said he couldn't exactly do that right now and wouldn't tell me more, and now I know why. He's not on there, and there's a good chance multiple people who've been gone for years have access to our server, and our treasurer, who is the most trustworthy person in this township, does not. That's a massive problem, and I wanted to say this when the whole thing was going on, but there is no way that with their policy, they can actually, he wouldn't have been able to remove Priscilla.
Good, all right, well, thank you, Joe. Stacy Stoner?
Yeah, as a former clerk, I was listening to the, how I would feel if I was sitting up there as clerk. So Priscilla could not say anything to Joseph when he was talking, yet when she was talking, she constantly kept getting interrupted. And if I was in that position, I would really, I might be in tears, I don't know what I would do at that. I mean, it just didn't seem fair to me. And also, I know that there's numerous people that do want Priscilla in, from other townships. They know her work. Ashley is good. I hope that Ashley doesn't quit now if she's able to, because I know she approved of Priscilla's work. That'd be bad to not have an assessor too. The other thing is, wow, I don't know where to go from here, but so I've tried to help Joseph all I could. I mean, I've been spending most of my time helping Priscilla, and I've asked Joseph what he needs, and he really is, no, I'm okay, but from what I understand, he's not okay in this position. I've done a deputy treasurer position in another township, and I would have been more than happy to help clarify anything about the reconciliation receipts that are needed to be fixed. And I actually told him to fill out the building permit things without realizing that now you guys have a building permit program that automatically goes in to the BSNA that she needs into the general fund. So that was my fault for not knowing that, how that worked, because I never had worked with one of those, but boy, I don't even know what to say. There's so much I would like to say, having worked in the township beside Priscilla, and I mean, I spent, I don't know how many hours not getting paid for many things, and I'm fine with that, but I wanted to make this township work. That's why I helped Priscilla. I really didn't want the memories of being township clerk the first time when I was tormented, and but I did it anyway to help Priscilla to get this township going again. Well, I guess I'll just stop with that. Oh, one other thing. I don't think she sent those synopsises in. I don't know if you approved them, but you'll have to now send them to the salesman. Ads at salesmanpublications.com, and so that we won't get late synopsises.
Yeah, thank you, Stacy.
Yeah.
Alex Sylvester?
I had a whole bunch to say, but I'm gonna narrow it down to this. As far as the key is concerned, I like the idea of a glass box. I don't know where you'd find one, but it's a good idea. Really, the cheapest route I can think of offhand is you got a camera already in that office, put an eye bolt in the wall in front of that camera, take one of those plastic seals with a specific number on it, seal the key to the eye bolt.
Yeah.
When the key ain't on the eye bolt no more, look at the camera, and you'll know.
I don't know.
You can buy 100 of them on Amazon for $11.95.
Yep, makes sense.
The only other thing I have to say is, I wish I would have said it in the beginning, but it would have started these guys out with what they end up saying anyways. But I worked at a fire station with 17 guys with huge egos for 27 years. Before that, I was in the Army for 7 or 8 years with guys with even huger egos. Two things I learned that could help you guys in the future is, the very first thing is, and I'll say it twice, all problems begin and end with communication. Again, all problems begin and end with communication. If you can't talk to each other, go the old-fashioned route, put an in and out box in that office and talk to each other through that damn box. Secondly, I talked about egos. Most people have egos. Most people have very big egos. I personally have learned through working with a lot of ego-oriented people is I don't check their ego ever. I check my ego. I'm humble. I listen to them. Joseph, I know you're like that. I don't let people push me around, but I read their egos and I can work around their egos. And I'm proud to say I'm a friend with Priscilla and I'm a friend of Joseph's. And yeah, I have a very thick skin with Priscilla. And it's just about knowing your audience. And I get it. I understand there's more people like you than there are me that can put up with it. But that's the way she works. Yeah, and just advice for you, check your ego and communicate. And I know you're doing what you think you're doing a good job, and you probably are. That's all I got to say.
Thanks, Alex. Mary Hall?
I can't speak for everyone else. I can only speak for myself. My intent today with my statement was not to get Priscilla to quit by any means. It was more to bring her into reality of how she was treating people. I have watched her multiple times berate, I was not lying, berate employees and board members. And I wish she would have stuck around and been able to try to work on it. It wasn't the intent to make her leave because she did do her job. I even told her that when she first started and she was freaking out. And when she yelled at the employee, I said, Priscilla, nobody expects perfection right now. It's gonna be okay. And I talked her down, I talked her through it. Tried to be nice to her because I don't have a problem with her. The only problem I had was the way she spoke to people in that office. And that's it. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Mary Miller?
Well, sitting here and watching what's going on, it is definitely a personality problem. And I think it's maybe a little bit of attitude. Joseph, this is all new to you. I understand. I have a lot of respect for you. You got thrown into this thing. You're trying to do the best. You have a right to have a full-time job. Unfortunately, this community was used to having somebody in the office more hours. It's gonna take time to adjust to that. I don't know if I was totally thrilled with adding an extra person. Our township seems to spend money like it's water dripping out of but I also see the point where Priscilla is a very strong person. She has done good in this township. I think she likes control more. She has a hard time saying, I'm sorry. I don't know how it would be to work with a person like that. I never have. I've tried talking to her. I don't know what the answer is other than I don't think she'll learn. I wish she would. I totally wish she could come around because she's done good and she's tried to do good for this community. And I think she'd be great at the job she's doing. I see a little bit of not trying to work with you, and there's just this friction, and I don't know how you could get beyond it at this point. It's grown so much. And I'm sorry, that's happened on both sides. I don't know how to rectify that, and it's too bad, because I wanted this community to grow and be a good community. I see things we could do to make it a better place to live. And, I'm sorry, Grace, if you got berated. I didn't, so I guess I missed that one. And, I think the biggest thing that confuses me with Priscilla is, why is she still bringing Judy in? I'm sorry. Judy's gone. She's gone. We had problems with her. She quit 3 times.
Is it legal to have somebody sitting without getting paid?
All right.
No, it's not.
Okay, Mary, thank you.
Yeah.
Christina, I apologize, I cannot read your last name.
Lindgren.
Lindgren.
So, this is totally out of my comfort zone. Relatively new to the area, so I don't know any of you guys. I've been coming to the meetings for a while, so I don't have any horse in the race, so to speak. First off, I don't know, is Michelle still there?
I'm still here.
You still wanna work in this office? God bless you.
Do I still have a job?
Well, yeah, maybe. So, and my intention isn't to make digs at anyone here, but, I have noticed over the last 2 meetings, Priscilla making little digs at Joseph and just, you know, I'm in the office all the time, I do this, I do that. And I even said to my husband, well, it's not an excuse to put other people down, you know?
But this isn't a
No,
conversation.
no, hey, just let her finish, please.
So, and I went home to my husband, I'm like, man, that guy's a saint, you know, putting up with this, but, you know, if you're gonna be in this position, you do have to have professionalism. And point blank, I'll tell you, if I was stranded on a island with all of you and needed one of you for help, it would be Joseph. Like I said, I don't know any of you, but based on what you've put forth, have shown the community, Joseph would be the one I would go to. Priscilla, I feel like she really did want the best for this community. She was trying her best. As far as, I think it's Mary, you had nothing to do with her quitting. I heard in the audience that she told people she was gonna do this yesterday. So I feel like this community thrives on a lot of drama. It's like a soap opera, a lot of BS, I hear so much gossiping. Just sitting here, taking it in, hearing, work together, people, you know? And I get working with difficult people, and I couldn't work with her, I'll be honest with you. And I don't know if I can't say that I could work with you, I don't know you, you know, but, yeah, I don't know.
Well, thank you very much. Okay.
Can I say
No other
something?
business?
I didn't sign, can I say something?
Okay, go ahead, then we'll go
Okay.
into it.
It is about personalities. And some people, Rita McGonigal, and some people do not know how to designate. And Alex knows that, and a lot of you do. They're easier to do it themselves than get help. And I think she's one of those people. And they step on everybody. And she probably doesn't realize she's hurt Joseph so badly. And I commend you. You are a gentleman tonight. Totally. And yes, you were irritated. You should be irritated. And your wife, the little sweetheart, sat back here cheering you on and did not say a word. That is the way it should be. But yes, you have had a hard time, and so has she. And all this has been dumped on both of you.
Yeah.
It has. It's not been a good situation from the very beginning. And this Michelle over here, she's been put in the middle, and it's not been good. But I cleaned these offices, and never once did they question me about going down the stairs. I had all those papers accessible to me. I cleaned the fire barns, and I cleaned that office for 8 months. There was never this distrust, no trusting. It was never there. And that's why I said, why is this such a big deal to have all these locks? I was asked not to go down there. I didn't go down there. And I guess that was good enough then. I don't know why there's so much mistrust now.
Times have
Good.
changed.
Thank you, Rita. Gert?
Hi, I'm Jer. I am,
I'm sorry.
my name is Jerry. I am the county deputy. I do not say much, but I want to say, because it's been so hard when Joseph just said to me, hey, they appointed me as treasurer. I said, why? I honestly did, because I know he wants to give back to his community. He wants to do all these things for his community. I said, okay. Then 1 week later, 2 weeks later, he's not coming home till 12 o'clock. He has a family. I have a 10-year-old boy at home. Where's dad? Where's dinner? Why? Now he appointed me to be his deputy treasurer because he needed the help, and I accepted because I didn't want him to come home at night. So like, because he went to work and he went back straight to work. It frustrates me that, and that's why I wanted to let you guys know that before he became treasurer, and we know Priscilla for a very long time, things that she needed Joseph's advice, she needed help. We would sit during dinner time, and she would show up at our door. And my husband would say, oh, we're having dinner right now. And she would continue to keep talking for hours while we finished eating dinner. What kind of respect do you, I mean, it's not just one time, it's multiple times. If you have respect, we don't have much time to, we work all day, we come home, we cook, we eat as a family. But if my kids, I still have one, yes, I said, why? You do so much. But he wants to help this community, and I wanted to get this out because I want you guys to know what's going on as well too. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Drew. Okay, if there's no other business in front of this board, is there a motion to adjourn?